You know, we all are accustomed to the TR-6 being named after male characters while looking extremely feminine, until they equipped the Hyzenthlay armor onto that thing. However, when they equipped the armor onto the Hazel, they named it after a female character, sure, but it is still looking extremely masculine. Man, Advanced Zeta is weird. What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the P-Bandai high-grade Gundam TR-1 Hyzenthlay from Advanced Zeta, the Flag of Titans. Now, this is essentially a combination of the TR-6 Hyzenthlay 2 and the TR-1 Hazel, and I have to say it does look pretty cool, despite both suits being designed around different design concepts. The only weird thing up to me is that the torso and the arms of the TR-6 woundward are duct taped onto the crotch of this guy right here. But other than that, this thing does look pretty cool. Now, there's one small gripe I have about this, is that there are no proportion updates, not even the face, despite using new parts. So the face, to me, it looks a little bit outdated. I think it could have used a slight bit of a facelift, a slight bit of an update, but other than that, this thing does look pretty cool. And speaking of the new engineering, I gotta talk about the leg gear, because the leg gear, they may look exactly the same as the one used by the Advanced Hazel. However, you do have extra color separation over here. This is an extra piece, so the new feet gear actually provides colored thrusters, which is pretty nice, and more on the new engineering later. So for stickers, everything you have that is metallic green on the body is a sticker. That's basically it. So not a lot of stickers, color separation is still fantastic, the engineering is still pretty damn good. Just really hope that the face will have a slight bit of a facelift to modernize it a little bit, but that is not really too big of a complaint, so I will let it slide today. There's also the issue of loose pieces that I'd like to talk about, because if you guys know, the Hazel is most known for the loose thrusters and the Primrose is most known for its loose winglets. So how is it on this thing? Now, when connecting them, it feels like a solid connection, which is very good, but in terms of falling off, they do not fall off on their own accord. However, they will fall off if you grip the kit the wrong way. So as long as you do not invade their personal space and watch out for where you grip it, then you'll be fine. The only loose piece right now is the beam saber, as per usual on all of the TR-1 molds. So yeah, the beam saber, just pluck it out, use it, or dump it in a ziploc, whatever. You don't need to concern about that piece one bit. Articulation is where this thing starts to get really interesting because of the new engineering. So first of all, the head, it's on a double ball joint, so basic rotation and a chicken neck is possible, pretty nice. The shoulders over here, they can shrug up and down, they can swivel forward and back. The shoulder armor can move out that far, and yeah, beware of the cannon colliding with the shark head on the back. So it can flip up a full 90 to allow for the arm to move out, like so. The arms can rotate. The arms can rotate above the elbow, bend at the elbow at two joints over here, but you cannot fully straighten the arm due to the armor. And of course, you do have a ball jointed wrist. The waist is still on that gigantic peg and polycap, so you can only do rotations over here and a forward and back swivel thanks to the polycap. Front skirts are blocked by the subarms, and the subarms over here can move forward. That's the only thing that they can do, by the way, so keep in mind. Side skirts can move out of the way, back skirts cannot. Now the legs, they can forward and back sit from the waist. They can move forwards, not too much, backwards, not too much, outwards, almost a full split, so that is very nice when considering the new engineering. And of course, you have a rotation at the hip. Now the legs, they have a double jointed knee, however the updated joint on the thigh is a little bit too minute, so you're not going to get any more than what you get in the previous Hazels, and sorry for knocking my mic there. And then the feet are on ball joints, but they're still relatively limited because of the armor. The ankle guards can slightly move if you have the correct positioning, and the feet have flip-flop action. And of course, the backpack over here, you can swivel the top piece over here, and of course you have the track inside of the backpack. So all in all, articulation is very good on the TR-1 Hyzenthlay. Although the feet could use a little bit more just to utilize the updated articulation on the hips on the ground better, this thing does have an action base hole, so you can plug it onto the action base and fully utilize the articulation. So yes, the updated articulation is pretty good. Accessories. So let's get the troublemaker out of the way, the beam saber on top over here. It's stored on pretty much the same way as all the other Hazels through the hole in the backpack. And of course you do get the one single beam over here, so you can plug that on and you can allow the Hazel to hold it. And of course this kit does come with the specialized hand, so you can use that as well. Next up is going to be the beam rifle right here. Nothing really too special. There's no green sticker for the scope, by the way. You do have the removable ammo cartridge over here, and of course the swiveling support handle, and there's the trigger finger hand to hold it. So just swap the hands out, and here you go. There's the beam rifle. And last but not least, we have the composite shield booster right here. So this is an updated version of the composite shield booster. Well, it looks identical when compared to the woundworts, but first of all, you do have an updated brace over here so as to let the Hazel shield connectors connect into it, or essentially any shield connector that has a 3mm peg. So you can allow for this thing to be used on your own customs as long as they use a 3mm peg shield connector, which is pretty nice. And of course you do have the fin over here that can flip inwards for some reason, I don't know, because this thing cannot transform into the chrome mode, not that it has the parts to do it anyways. So yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer. And of course you do have the flipping scope, which does have a metallic green sticker on it. Now I never really used the blue stickers for the blade because they are just troublesome to deal with. So all you need to do is to mount the composite shield booster onto the arm like so, and you are grand. This is way more stable than the ones that came with the woundwork, because you do not need to worry about a falling hand cover or something like that. But if you do not like the gigantic blade aesthetic of the composite shield booster, there's a second option. So you can take the blade off and then take the fin in the back off, flip the scope in, and then there's this piece right here. This piece is basically a stored version of the blade. So you can just plug it into the back just like so, and then you will have the composite shield booster stored configuration. I do not know how this thing achieves it realistically. Either it pushes the blade back or just folds the blade back. I'm not really too sure, but either way, here you have a less cumbersome version of the composite shield booster right here. And obviously I cannot leave the accessory section without mentioning the miscellaneous accessories. So first of all, the beam cannons up here, you still cannot flip them. Of course you can still have the swivel over here and swivel at the turret, so you can just point them down. And of course you have the diffuse beam cannon inside of this booster right here. So how you achieve this is kind of, I think, shoehorned in, but there are two pegs in this cap for a reason. So you just repeg the peg on the tip into the hole over here, and here you have the diffuse beam cannon open. Now you can finally properly aim this thing, because it is on the back. The TR6 cannot really aim this thing until it transforms, but the TR1 has the advantage of a backpack hinge. So that's pretty nice. And of course, I cannot go without mentioning the subarms over here. They cannot do crap, like I said. However, if you cannibalize one of your TR6s, you can actually allow for the TR1 to have functioning subarms. Of course, there's a little bit of part swapping, and it does require you to buy a TR6 and repaint the frame if this irks you. However, you can allow for the subarms to be usable if you cannibalize some of your other advanced Zeta kits. And of course we do have the extra hand. So apart from the specialized beam saber holding hand, you of course do have a left open hand and the angled trigger finger hand that's left over from the Primrose. So that's gonna wrap it up for all the accessories of the TR-1 Hyzenthlay. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, the TR-1 Hyzenthlay has the TR-6 Hyzenthlay 2's shoulders. So if you take off this gigantic cannon and take your Hyzenthlay 2 extensions, I just ripped this one off from the Hyzenthlay 2 raw, you can actually plug it in and allow for the TR-1 to have the Hyzenthlay 2 binders, which is pretty nice. More customization. Hint hint, Hyzenthlay Raw 2 coming in November. So in terms of leftover parts, first of all, you do get the A plate over here. The majority is left over, so yeah, you do have quite a bit of parts. And of course, the holes on the side skirts are free, so if you want to, you can build the extra ammo cartridges and put it on there. Second of all is A-plate number 2, the Primrose A-plate. Now, I think these could be used to build the side pieces of the Primrose. Not that I would like it because it's very, very troublesome. And of course, you do have the tiny, tiny winglets over here that are even more of a pain in the ass to deal with in the original Primrose. You do have the shaft for the cannon and of course kind of like the track for it. However, you do not get the cannon cap. So you are crap out of luck if you want a second Primrose cannon. But hey, you do get a second missile pod. Next up, B-plate, basically all of the old armor. So yeah, of course you can go ahead and build the original set of Hazel's shoulders, but these things should go in the bin. Next up is B-plate number 2, the Primrose. So of course you do have the extra track over here, extra housing unit, extra thrusters in case you need them. You do have the hooking mechanism for the long blade rifle. And I think these are for the Primrose chest, the original one, because this thing does have new chest connections for the arms. And of course you do have, I think, the arm for the Primrose cannon. I'm not really too sure. Next up we have the C-plate from the original Hazel. Now of course you do have the chest pieces over here, the chest grenade launchers, the collar, the chest piece, the torso, the cover for the front skirt, the housing unit on the chest, and of course the original back skirt. Last but not least, we do have the D-plate over here. This thing can go and everything else pretty much stays. Of course, you do have the connector for the shield booster over here. So essentially, in this pile of parts, you are only missing the original Hazel helmet. And everything else that you need to create an original Hazel is in this kit. So I would say rip off a head from your Hazel customs, and then you will have a fully modernized Hazel custom. So there you go. You have everything you need apart from the old helmet. So for comparisons, I am gonna start off by bringing a dual shield booster type Hazel custom over here. Now of course, because I stripped down the parts of my advanced Hazel, so that's what I'm left with. And where did those parts go to? Kind of the Hru-Do-Do configuration of the Hazel Owsla. So that's gonna wrap it up for the TR-1 Hyzenthlay review. So let's get the cons out of the way first. First of all, nothing major, it's just that I wish the feet have better articulation, but the legs are using old parts, so the feet are gonna be using old articulation, but that's not gonna be a problem if you're posing it in the air, just on the ground. So it's nothing too major, as I did say, so take it as you will. But second of all, it is gonna be the unusable subarms. Now the old Hazels do have usable subarms that put modern kits to shame, so this kit is among that shame list, unless you rip off the arms from the TR6 Woundward or Hazel 2 just so you can replace the static subarms on the crotch. You do not even get slots or anything to put on the expansion set, so there's no using these arms for anything at all other than just being there to weird other people out that you have 2 arms on your crotch for some reason. But other than that, this kit is just a beauty to look at. I really like the design, and of course the accessories, and not to mention the hidden compatibility and customizability of this kit. I had to give extra praise to the composite shield booster for the redesign, although it lost the chromo, which is a little bit of a shame to be honest with you guys, but you do get parts to configure the composite shield booster to however you want to configure it. And of course the new brace that is in the middle. You can use this for any other kit that has a 3mm shield connector. So that's basically all about it. I'm gonna give this thing a 7 out of 10. It's definitely worth a buy, and definitely worth it having in your collection. However, if you want a basic version of a TR-1 that doesn't look like a generic Gundam, this thing is gonna be your go-to. But if you're contemplating to buy one without buying the full collection, then I suggest waiting for the Hyzenthlay Raw 2. So that's gonna wrap it up for me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more gunplay reviews, gunplay news, and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the featured channels on my channel page if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys.